Hi, everybody. It is Proline, the weekend edition, and the gang's all here, except for Scott Spreitzer, who's traveling this weekend, but Scott will be nailing some big winners. He's been on fire, so make sure and take advantage of his offers at ProLineTV.com. I'll call the office to see about his big games this weekend. Big Al McMorty's here, though. Jim Feist is here. I'm Dave Koken, and we got some great games to talk about. We've also got something brand new to tell you about right off the top, and this is for odds, scores, and matchups directly on your iPhone, and it's all free. All you need to do is download the free app on iTunes called My Vegas Odds. That's My Vegas Odds. It's 100% free, so just check it out today. Everybody likes downloading new apps. Here's a brand new one for you that you'll like, especially if you're into this stuff as we are. My Vegas Odds. That's the free app on iTunes. Go check it out. All right, we've got some big games to talk about, some terrific offers to get things rolling as well. Big Al McMorty, who's just these Vegas Strip moves have been absolutely insane going back to the start of the football season. Excuse me, another nice one for you, Al, on Thursday night. Troy, they were a home dog. They blew the lead at the end of regulation, but they won it in overtime anyway, so happy ending for you on that game. And you got a real expensive offer this weekend, $3 for 3 plays. You're charging that much, huh? $1 a selection. Wow.
Hey, you know, it's we want to get everyone as possible on board for this offer, so it's $1 a play. We've got 3 big plays on Saturday. We've got Pitt St. John's, we've got Georgia, Tennessee, and then there's a big play for me. We're actually going to talk about the game here, at least you guys will. My clients are going to get it from me because it's a big play, Colorado, Kansas. So it's $3 for 3 big plays. And you can call right now, 866-896-1628. That's 866-896-1628. Only $3 for Saturday's 3 big winners from me, 866-896-1628.
And moving to Jim Feist. Jim, you did it again. Last week, you had a $2 special, 2 games with a guarantee. You won them both. Last night, Dallas Mavericks and Denver on the college side. Denver was a real easy winner, and it turned out the Mavericks pulled away late in their game, so that was not too difficult. $2, guaranteed 2-0. You got them there again, but you're not stopping at 2 games tomorrow. You get 5 games up for a big Saturday special.
That's right. In the last 2 weeks, we ran that $2 for 2 games, guaranteed to win, and we're 4-0 on those games. And you know, if you combine Al's $3 package with my $5 package, you can get 8 plays for $8. This is amazing. Tournament time, it's right now. We got Bracket Buster weekend. We got tournament time. We got great games. We got 5 plays for $1 a winner. That's right. 5 plays for $5, including a high roller Bracket Buster release directly from my personal service. Just $5. Make the call to 1-866-841-1655. Combine that with Al's. That's $8. You get 8 plays. And we've been red hot. You don't want to forget. Call in 1-866-841-1655. 5 big plays for $5. 5 small dollars for 5 big winners. That's right. And don't forget, when you want free plays each and every day, go to ProLineTV.com or text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131, and we'll send you free winners each and every day right to your cell phone.
I feel like the money grubber on this panel. I'm charging $10 for only 2 games tomorrow. I mean,
too much.
Too much. I'll tell you what, the results they've been outstanding lately. I had a little rough stretch in college basketball early in January, and you know it happens. Everybody goes through it once in a while, and that's several weeks ago, and then got really hot toward the end of the month, and I've carried it through. I've had an absolute monster run in this month of February. I mean, we are up an absolute ton this month, and we're going to keep it going. I've got my Bracket Buster Parlay. I guess you call it Bracket Buster Parlay of the year. It's not difficult to call it that since they only do the Bracket Busters 1 day a year. But anyway, I've got 2 games, and here's the thing on the Bracket Busters. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a total pain in the ass from my standpoint because what it amounts to is you've got a bunch of non-conference games in the middle of the conference schedule, and you have to determine which teams give a damn and which teams is like wow, this is an almost an exhibition game. So there's a lot of research to do. But if you have the time and the wherewithal to do that research, you can come up with some really strong spots. I've got two of them tomorrow. It's going to be my Bracket Buster Parlay of the Year. It's $10. I'm going to guarantee it. You have to win both games. It's that simple. You got to win both games. I'm going to carry you right through the end of the month at no cost whatsoever. So it's a good deal. 1-866-841-1665. Get yourself these two Bracket Buster winners, 1-866-841-1665. All right, let's look at some games. And we are, as Al already mentioned, we're going to look at the Colorado-Kansas game first. And Colorado, terrific player, Jim. Alec Burks has been absolutely outstanding for this team. This is a guy who, if you were playing at a school that got more attention, would be a guy who everybody would know who follows college basketball. He's dynamite. The problem is there's only one of him, and there's a whole bunch of guys like that in Kansas. I mean, Kansas, tell you how good Kansas is. They got a kid named Elijah Johnson from here in Las Vegas, and this kid coming out of high school was an absolute stud. You know, the local fans were unhappy that UNLV didn't get him, but he wanted to go to the big-name school. He's like the ninth guy on that team, eighth or ninth guy. Doesn't play. He's playing 10 minutes a game somewhere in that area. Tells you how deep and talented this Kansas squad is, and they're up an awful game. They absolutely stunk it up on Monday night in Manhattan against Kansas State. Blown out in that basketball game, and they were that bad. It wasn't that Kansas State was that good. Well, Jacob Pullen was, but Kansas was really bad in that game. This is not a good matchup for Colorado. I know they gave them a good game the first time around, lost by only 4 points, 82-78, but you're talking about a Kansas team that's number one in the nation in two-point field goal percentage, number one in efficiency field goal percentage, which basically it's more of a convoluted stat that Pomeroy comes up with. Ken Pomeroy's got some very good stats like this. They're awfully good in that area. And Colorado, not a good defensive team. So it doesn't set up well for Colorado. I know it's a huge number here. So for me, it's not going to be a play, I don't think. But there's only one side I can play here, Jim. That would have to be the Kansas Jayhawks. Coming off a bad game, they could be in a really bad mood, and they might run it up on Colorado in this game. What do you think?
Well, first of all, let's start with what you think the line will be, Dave.
I'm looking at about 18. I would estimate somewhere in that range.
Yeah, that's about what I'd make it as well. And then I have a problem with that. This time of year, I understand bouncing back off a loss and everything else, but the Colorado play a little defense. I just don't see at this time of the year where Kansas is going to pour it on. I mean, they got a lot to look forward to down the road here. And at this time of year, after they've been blowing people out for like 30 games in a row, that's an exaggeration, but pretty easy time of it. They've only lost a couple games all year long. And they got big game with Oklahoma State coming up, Oklahoma coming up, Texas A&M, Missouri. A lot of stuff going on. And I don't see laying 18 points to anybody this time of year. I'm sorry. I'd have to go with the dog or nobody.
All right, so nothing. We don't have anything strong in that game. Let's see if we can come up with more definitive opinions on an ACC matchup. Boston College and North Carolina hooking up. Big Al, the first time around, not exactly Boston College's best game of the year. They got crushed, 106-74. North Carolina really unloaded in that game. The Tar Heels playing pretty good ball, especially since Larry Drew left the team. I mean, one of those addition by subtraction types of things. I think you had an unhappy player, and I don't know that North Carolina's ever going to have a great backcourt this season, but they're not turning it over as much. They're playing good ball. Boston College, though, it's a big game for them. I mean, they're one of those teams in that mix right now. They could get to the NCAA tournament. A win here would be absolutely huge for them. How do you see this one unfolding, Al?
Well, I had a big play on Wake Forest over North Carolina this past Tuesday. I thought that was a perfect spot to fade the Tar Heels off their upset win over Clemson, since North Carolina was favored by 22.5 points over Wake Forest. So not surprisingly, the Tar Heels kind of sleptwalked through a 78-64 win. That game snapped their 7-game point spread win streak. So I kind of look for UNC to get back to its winning ways tomorrow and to blow out Boston College. As you mentioned, when these two teams met in Chestnut Hill 2.5 weeks ago, there was no contest. Carolina blew out BC by that 32-point score. I can't see much changing here on Saturday. I think there's only one side to play, and it's North Carolina.
You know what really interests me about this game is that if you look at Boston College, and knowing Boston College's rep from years gone by, you kind of look at them as a team that kind of grinds it out, plays good defense. But that's actually not what this Boston College team is. They actually have very good efficiency numbers on offense. Their defensive numbers stink. They're really not very good on that end of the court. That's a problem for them against North Carolina because North Carolina, I think North Carolina might have some trouble come tournament time because they're not a real good defensive team. But boy, on offense, they are something else. The other thing on North Carolina is that they've got everybody knows Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is an absolutely great freshman. I might argue that he could be, of all the guys I've seen play college this year, 6'8", small forward. I think he's going to have a great NBA career. But there's another guy on this team who's really impacting what happens on the court for the other team. That's this John Henson. He is a horse, a huge guy. I mean, he's a hack-a-shack in a sense because if it's late in the game, Roy Williams almost has to get him out of the game if it's close because he's awful at the foul line, shooting like 39%. But he is an impact guy defensively. And, of course, Tyler Zeller is a solid guy on the inside as well. So I don't think Boston College is going to be able to get some things done in the paint that they want to. It's not like Reggie Jackson and Trapani can't go off in this game and get some things done for the Eagles, but, they got crushed the first time around. I think North Carolina could do it again. This is another game, though, Jim, where, boy, the numbers a little daunting. I'm thinking it's coming in, it's double digits. I would think somewhere between 12 and 14, maybe a little on the high side because the game's in Chapel Hill. I hate doing this because I'm more of a dog player, but I think I lean to the favorite here, even at 14. Then I got a suspicion you're going to go the opposite way because of what you just said, but let's hear it from you, Jim.
Well, the situation here with North Carolina is a little bit different. I mean, they have not had the banner kind of year that they usually have, and they're coming on strong now. I mean, but they had a rough patch early. I mean, they were 2-2 straight up going, and then they won a couple, bouncing back and forth. But lately, they've won 7 out of the last 8 games, losing only to Duke. Did not cover the last game, as Al mentioned, against Wake, which was a great spot, Al, on that take. They've gone under the last 3 games. I'm looking at that. They did blow out this team. When you beat a team by 35 points, it's hard to imagine, getting up for them again. Look what happened with the Lakers and the Cavs the other night, 55-point win to a loss. I mean, that was a remarkable turnaround. I mean, this kind of thing is, if you're getting 14 points in this game, I think it's too much. I mean, I could make the game maybe 11, and that's about where I would sit with the game, about 11. The total is kind of interesting to me. Boston College over the years, I mean, under is 21-11. Eagles last 33 games as a road underdog. I'm kind of thinking with this matchup and the fact that it's a big revenge game for Boston College and North Carolina's probably going to take them a little light. I'd probably look to the under in this game and perhaps the dog if the game comes about 14, like Dave said.
Well, we talked about a couple of games with good-sized numbers. Here's one where the numbers are going to be short, and it's going to be a good game. This is, I think it's probably the marquee attraction, at least, especially on the West Coast, as far as bracket busters is concerned. Utah State, 24-3, but without a signature win, heading to St. Mary's, the Gales 22-5 off a shocking loss to San Diego. Not to San Diego State, but to San Diego earlier this week. Wow, that was a big upset. I had St. Mary's a small favorite in this game. I'm thinking right around 3. Interesting, they met 2 years ago in bracket busters on this court. St. Mary's pretty easy win in that game, 75-64. At least the final score was easy. As I recall, the game was closer than that. But excuse me, St. Mary's kind of stretched out a little bit on the end. It's a good matchup. Utah State, as good as they've been, and Stu Morrill is one of the best coaches in the country, they don't have a signature win. So there's some discussion that if they don't win this game and they don't win the WAC tournament, they could get snubbed. Well, I'll call it a snub or just omitted. I think they'll get in anyway, but it's borderline. Ty Wesley, the guy on Utah State, he is an outstanding player. If they got on TV more, everybody would know who Ty Wesley is. He's up against the St. Mary's squad that, again, coming off a very bad game, and you got to think Randy Bennett's going to want them to show a little bit better here. Maybe they were looking ahead to this game. They were up 8 at the half in that game, by the way, against San Diego, so I think they just went to sleep. Great backcourt. Dellavedova and McConnell, outstanding. Rob Jones, a terrific player. They're a perimeter-oriented basketball team, and yet, if you look at their stats, they don't give up second shots. They limit offensive rebounds. They're an extremely sound fundamental team. And that's something where I think Stu Morrill usually has an edge over his opponents, but won't here. So this one may just come down at the talent level. I think there's a little more of it on the St. Mary's side. I'm going to go with St. Mary's at home in this game, especially off the bad game. I'm going to take the Gales minus the points here. Al, it is a good game. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to watching this. It's one of the featured games in Bracket Busters. It won't be a gigantic play for me. It will not be part of my big offer. But it's definitely a game that I'm going to be looking at with interest, and I'm going to side with St. Mary's.
Yeah, I actually would put the number here at 1. You mentioned you think it might come 3. I would probably say St. Mary's -1. Regardless, I like Utah State. You mentioned these two teams played Bracket Buster 2 years ago. Well, they also played early in the season last year, and St. Mary's won that game as well. So Utah State's lost the last 2 seasons to the Gales. This is a big revenge game for Utah State. I do think they'll get the outright win on Saturday. They fall into a Bracket Buster system of mine. I put all the Bracket Buster games into my database, and I've found some very good situations for these games. And they fall into a 63 and 28 ATS Bracket Buster system of mine, as well as a 175 and 120 ATS angle. Also St. Mary's has been rather cold against the spread. It's covered just 1 of its previous 6 games, just 2 of its previous 9. You mentioned the unbelievable loss to the Toreros. That was just a shocking defeat. I cannot, for any reason, side with St. Mary's in this ball game. I'm going to take Utah State plus the points.
Well, Jim,
we got 2
opinions.
It really comes down to me what to make the number on this thing. It's home teams, especially home teams with small spreads, do not do very well in these Bracket Busters. And when you're taking a team out of one conference to another, there's always the question mark, well, how tough is this team's schedule? I rate the Western Athletic Conference a 73 and the West Coast Conference a 74. So that's pretty darn close. So I think they're pretty much playing the equal kind of competition. When you look at the teams that they've played, Utah State beat Weber at home. Weber's not a bad club. They played Brigham Young. Now we know Brigham Young is, highly thought of club right now. They lost by 6 on an away game. That was at Brigham Young. So that's Utah State in state at Brigham Young, loses the game by 6, getting 7. They cover. This St. Mary's also played Brigham Young, but it was on a neutral court, getting 2. They lost by 1. So if you look at that game alone, you're looking at a little bit of parity between the two clubs. So if this game comes like 1 to 3 points, I'm going to be either way. I'm going to be looking at Utah State as well as Al did, because I think it's going to be a heck of a matchup. Either team could win it. They also both played Denver this year. Utah State played Denver on the road, won the game by 8. Denver's not a bad little club, and they were favored in that game by 9.5, which is a pretty big number at Denver. They won the game by 8, and St. Mary's played Denver at home, laying 19.5, won by 30. So, yeah, we do know St. Mary's home court is pretty rough. It's hard to win. They're 13-0 straight up at home this year. So it's a little bit tough. The RPI on this is Utah State 26, and the St. Mary's is 31. So we're looking at a pretty comparable game. I'd take the points in this spot.
Jim, one point in the Denver comparison. Denver is notorious, might be the team in college basketball with the biggest home road dichotomy. So, it's no surprise that St. Mary's would have the better result playing Denver at St. Mary's compared to Denver having the home game. Because Denver's home road dichotomy is, ridiculous.
No, Denver also plays
I agree
style.
with you. It is. That's why we all make a little bit of money playing Denver when they're at home.
Yeah,
right. Against them when they're on the road.
Denver runs that Princeton offense, and St. Mary's has got the quickness to defend that, and they've seen it. So, and you're right, boy. I mean, talk about a team with a home road dichotomy. Well, let's look at best bets on this card, and we'll tell everybody once again about the offers that we have over the weekend. And if you take advantage of all three offers, you'll spend $18, and you'll have gotten 10 plays.
Dave, you're way overpriced.
Hey, you can't beat that.
Dave, you're way overpriced. You got to drop your prices back into the, this is kind of Walmart now. You got to go to the lower price scale.
Al, you got a best bet you want to talk about? In addition, let everybody know once again what you're doing.
Yeah, well, my best bet, this is probably one of the easiest best bets I've had all season. It's definitely Utah State against St. Mary's. I love the Aggies in this ball game. As you mentioned, it's 3 plays for $3 from me. You've got 2 games on ESPN, the Pitt St. John's game, the Colorado-Kansas game. You've got the CBS matchup between Georgia and Tennessee. All 3 games, just $3. And folks can call 866-896-1628. That's 866-896-1628. 3 big plays, only $3, and you'll go 3-0 on this Saturday. Jim?
I've got 5 big plays, $5, $1 a play. Just call 1-866-841-1655. Included in that is a high roller bracket buster release that I'm giving off my personal service. It's 5 big games, $5, 1-866-841-1655.
And I've only got 2 games that I want you on tomorrow, guys. And that's my Bracket Buster game of the year. Bracket Buster parlay of the year. $10, 2 outstanding games, and a guarantee. You got to get them both, or you're going to get the rest of the month at no cost. And it's only going to be the 19th of February, so you're talking about well over a week of free service. But I got to tell you, you're not going to get free service because the 2 games are going to win. It's $10 at 1-866-841-1665, 1-866-841-1665. By the way, forgot to mention earlier, I already hit my Pac-10 game of the month on Thursday night. Washington was an easy winner, so the big games continue to roll in. Best bet, I'm on the opposite side here. This is a difficult gym. St. Mary's really tough at home. They haven't lost there. And the thing I found about Utah State, I think they're a really solid squad against teams at their own level or below. When they step out on the road, I don't think they're quite as good. I'm going to take St. Mary's for the best bet in this game. It's an outstanding lineup of Bracket Buster games, not to mention some of the big conference battles. Get involved with the specials we have. Have some fun this weekend. We will come back on Monday with another edition of Proline for the Big Al McMorty and Jim Feist. I'm Dave Kogan. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.